Hi, my name's John. Welcome to another Sunday night nightcap. I've had a really good week in the garage at home. I've had 2 or 3 motorcycle engine casings in for welding repairs. I've got some broken studs. I've actually done 3 broken studs in a row and getting them all out. I'm not looking forward to doing the 4th one. On tonight's video, I showed an inlet manifold. I think it's a Cosworth inlet manifold. I set it up on the military facet and it was a right bastard to try and to mount to get level. I do like using my machinery to do things basically that's beyond them. A little bit of ingenuity as to how you mount things so you can always sort of get by. I have to cut a left-hand thread, an 8x125 left-hand thread for the clutch actuating rod, and I have a hell of a job with that. Eventually I cheat and get a die. I show a little bit of how I go about doing that. I managed to get some more work done on that steam boiler that were tested and were condemned, and now we think it might fix. I cut the centre flue out with a plasma cutter so I can see where the actual leak was, and then we're going to decide what we're going to do to whether we're going to repair it or not. You have to hang on a couple of weeks to find out what happened, unless of course you want to have a look on the Patreon channel. That was a out and out right plug for my Patreon channel, simple as that. I've got a set of round pipes here, or an inlet manifold. I think it's of a Cosworth, I'm not quite sure. And what I've got to do is machine that face flat. There's absolutely nothing really to mount it on. These are rough cast. That face has been machined. Now I have got a cheap and cherry angle vise, but I mean that's still, I can't fasten it onto there very easily. I quite enjoy the puzzle of how they're going to machine something on a machine that's not really ideal. The ideal machine would be what they call a universal mill, where the table tilts like that. But this isn't a universal mill. Now what I have got are these steel blocks, which would get the angle somewhere near, and then I can pack the blocks up to get them just right. The garage I used to work in, we used to machine a lot of cylinder heads, and we had aluminium pieces for the various angled heads. Hillman Imp was one, and the Dolomite Sprints had an angled head, Triumph Dolomites. So I think what I'll do is I'll mark these hole centres. I'll drill and tap them 5mm, and I can put 4 5mm bolts in, and I can pack this up to get it just how I want it. It's just a light whisper, just a light finish. That's all he needs. So that's the plan. I'm not going to harm them in any way. I don't use them, and I can put a bolt in there to clamp it down. So that should work out quite nicely. So we'll mark these holes off, then go from there. You need to make sure that that is line level. That's always an easy way of doing things. Try and make it as simple as possible. If we simply line that edge up with that piece of stock, which I know is parallel, that's pretty good. Right, so now we can drill and tap that 5mm, do the other one, mark the other out, and go from there. You could put a clock gauge on here and run a clock along it to get it absolutely spot on, but it doesn't need to be. It needs to be as accurate as it needs to be to do the job in hand. 4.2 is a tapping drill for 5mm. These are nice and soft. It's going to take longer to make the jig than it is to do the job, which is normally the case. I've got that grip tight enough in the chuck so it will cut, but it'll slip instead of snapping the tap. At least that's the idea. We've got 4 of these to do before we even start the job. Right, so it's slipping there, it's the bottom of the hole. The manifold is fastened onto these just with toe bolts because I can put a clamp on the bottom end. I've got it clamped down. I'll bring the camera in and you can see it's not very far away. It's actually high there it is here, so it needs some little packers button underneath there. I'll bring the camera in so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. The fly cutter's touching there and it's not touching here. That's a 25 thou feeler gauge and just gripping that. So we need to put some packers on the outside to lift that up. Right, I've got it fairly well clamped down now. Be better if those packers were turned round so you didn't catch yourself on there, but it'll be alright. That's actually the stuff, like what they call banding, steel banding. You fasten pallets of bricks, pallets of steel together with it. It's ideal for packing. It's all the same thickness, it's pretty good. That's just some stainless steel plate I had. I've put clamps on the back as well. It's touching basically all the way across now. We're going to get a light cut just to make sure it's good end to end, and then we'll go from there. Like. It's doing quite well now. We've got it within sort of 0.2 or 0.3 of a mil of being level, which is absolutely near enough. This will be its final cut. I've taken less than half a mil off in total, so it was pretty flat anyway. But I think what the lad wanted was a finish like that on the manifold, so it looks really nice. You get a good finish on aluminium with a fly cutter. It's only a high-speed steel tool that's in there as well, just a hand-grown tool. It's on the limit of what I can get in one pass. I think 18 inches is all I can do. It's spot on. Right, hopefully you can see that tool there. A little bit of high speed steel with a nice little radius on and loads of back rake, and it cuts no problem. You can see the finish. Really happy. I'm sure everybody will recognise that as being a clutch push rod, often as a bubble core. It's badly wasted away. Lads ask me if I can weld it up and remachine it or make another one. The easiest way is just to make another one. That happens to be 8 by 125 standard metric. So I've got an 8 by 125 metric bolt. The job's just about done. Needs a bit more thread putting on, and it needs a head rounding over. I'm going to show an easy method to round the head over using a milling cutter with a round over tool, or it's a round over tool, like a chamfer tool for putting a round edge on. The first thing is just to knock the hex off. These can be really tough to machine. That's the tool I'm going to use. You see I was going to form that quite nicely. Nice curve. Right, we're going to make sure, I've made sure the tool it's nicely on centre height. I'm just going to gently go into it because the cut gets more and more aggressive as you go in. Cutting on quite a big area. Starting to protest a little bit. You can protest as much as it wants, it's going to get machined. Right, happy with that. I'll just check on that other day, but it looks pretty good, and we'll just clean the back up with a file. Yep, that's fine. Right, that's a finished article. Nice little simple job using a tool that's not designed to do that job, but it does it exceptionally well.